meeting more regularly because I feel like meeting more regularly will help with your learning. So that's gonna actually be that's gonna be a thing. That's gonna be a thing. All right. So let me start off just by saying that as I was thinking about AI today, I was thinking about different industries and areas that you may want to look at if you want to be financially prepared, if you want to be kind of ready for what's coming. It's not that often that you hear all these experts pretty much saying the same thing, where they're all saying, it's coming, everything's going to change, everything's going to change, it's going to be different, it's going to be a different world. And I'm curious about it, partly excited about it, a little bit nervous about it. But hey, it is what it is. And so I thought that I would kind of lay out some industries that'll be affected by AI for sure. These are industries that are already getting investments. These are areas that you may want to put money in there. I think one way to prepare for AI is to make sure you're positioned to benefit from AI. Positioning is everything. Positioning is everything. If you're positioned to benefit from something, then you're not afraid of changes in society. You're going to win because of those changes. Now, if all you're doing is sort of going to work at a certain job, especially like a middle management knowledge-based job, and you're not investing at all, and you have no other sort of backup plan, stream of income, none of that stuff, then there's a little bit of a reason to be concerned because I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that they're slashing jobs by the millions right now already. They're already doing this. Companies are already letting people go because of AI. I knew a guy that needed somebody to do copywriting for his company because he was a great writer, and he's like, "Well, the AI writes better than him." So this is reality. This is the life that we're going to see. This is the universe as it is. And is it the end of the world? I don't think it is, mainly because we've had big disruptions before. Actually, I was thinking about electricity. When electricity came along, first off, how many of y'all knew this? That I think a large percentage, like 70% of Americans, refused to put electricity in their house because they thought that it possessed like evil spirits and demons or something. Because only a demon can make electricity appear out of nowhere in your house and turn the light on when there's no lamp lighter to light the lamp, or you didn't flick a match and light the oil. They had the oil candles or whatever. And then also, when electricity came along, you had this whole industry of people called lamp lighters, and lamp lighters would go through the neighborhood and light all the lamps in the city. And they probably had like a big lamplighters union, and the National Lamplighters Association or something, and lamplighter light, just I don't know, like a whole, like all the lamplighters would get together after work and go have a beer, and then suddenly all that just disappeared. Electricity pretty much meant that you didn't need lamplighters anymore, so there were lots of jobs lost there. But typically, when one type of job goes away, another job is created. Also, what AI is really doing for the most part, for sure, is it's enhancing productivity. That's really the big one. That's the big win for society. And I was listening to who was it? Kathy Wood talk about this the other day, and the future that she described was a pretty interesting future. And it's one where I think that the people that are going to get hit the hardest are going to be the ones who are caught up in silly stuff like, I don't know, like I don't like Donald Trump, I don't like Elon Musk, I don't like Joe Biden, like stuff like that is to me kind of trivial compared to taking care of your family. So before you go take care of the Democrat or the Republican Party, I hope you'll take care of your family first. I hope it's okay for me to say that. I probably hurt somebody's feelings, but Lord Jesus, we really love to get all up in other people's stuff, but not into our own stuff. So let's get into your stuff. Let me tell you guys, I'm literally going to lay out some game for you in terms of some areas you might invest. I'll name some specific stocks that I like, that I think could be beneficiaries of the coming AI revolution. This is not by any stretch financial advice. You guys know I do not give financial advice on this platform ever, but I will tell you about some places that I've been looking at to put my family's money, because y'all know I'm not going to play when it comes to my wife and my children, right? So, and I know a lot of y'all don't play when it comes to your wife, your children, your grandkids, and yourself. So take care of yourself first, and here's some stuff that hopefully will help you. One big industry that AI is going to impact. Basically has to do with like semiconductors. So semiconductors basically are what they might call the digital version of the picks and shovels in what is referred to as the AI gold rush. The AI gold rush is this massive multi-trillion dollar rush by, like all these companies around the world to participate in this emerging industry that is presenting tremendous amounts of opportunity. And so when it comes to a lot of that in terms of, who's making the semiconductors, and there's a big, in fact, that semiconductors are so important that there could be a war that emerges over semiconductors. Taiwan Semiconductor is a big company, a solid investment, by the way. Taiwan Semiconductor. I don't have the ticker symbol, but you can just look up Taiwan. If you can spell Taiwan, Taiwan, Taiwan Semiconductor. TSMC, I think that's the ticker symbol. That's a great company. They control this industry, and and they've pretty much dominated and done quite well. Nvidia's another company where I've had mixed feelings about Nvidia for a while. I wasn't sure if Nvidia was a good stock to invest in or not. Largely because the stock ran up so much, and I always get nervous when stocks run up like that. It just makes me. I like to stay away from the stuff everybody else wants. And that comes from my background as a finance professor. When I worked on my doctorate, every research study that I saw pretty much said that investors like to move in flocks like sheep. And if you ever want to get slaughtered, just follow all the sheep. If you ever want to get slaughtered, turn yourself into a sheep and just do what everybody else is doing. Follow the trends, let other people tell you what to do, and they will lead you straight to slaughter. Give me a guess if you understand what I'm saying. Is it TSM? Okay, TSM. I said TSMI, but TSM. Okay, thank you for fixing that for me. I appreciate that. All right, another company, AMD. Besides Nvidia, AMD is Nvidia's biggest rival. I think there's a lot of potential in AMD. I think there's enough for everybody, and I do own some shares of AMD somewhere in my portfolio. In fact, I'm even looking right now because I love buying stock. I'm gonna just tell you, it's like habit for me. It's like shopping. Women like to shop for shoes and stuff. I shop for stocks. I love to shop for stocks, and I'm literally a shopaholic when it comes to the stock market, man. I'm telling you, and let me tell you, the beauty about going to the stock market department store is that things are on sale on a regular basis. They have lots of sales, girl. And on top of that, the other thing that I love about the stock market department store is that they give you like a 90 to a 100% refund or on everything that you buy. Like the rebates are like 100. Sometimes the rebate is 150%. That means I spend $1,000 and sometimes I'll get back 1,500. Sometimes I'll get back 1,100. Sometimes I'll get back 2,000. How about that? How about that for a great place to shop, right? So I love shopping at the stock market department store because they have sales every week and they give you refunds ranging between 90% or rebates ranging between 90% and 200%, sometimes 3 or 400% if you buy something like Nvidia. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm looking at my portfolio now. One of my accounts is on Schwab. I like Schwab a lot. Schwab is a great it's a great platform. If you're looking for a place to begin, and also if you're not sure just how to sort of open your brokerage account, stuff like that, there's something called a Dr. Boyce cheat sheet I put together. It's a low cost digital file you can download that literally breaks down in very basic steps in a way you can share with your children, share with whoever you want in your family, and it'll show you how to get started investing. So literally, I'm going to go in bid. It looks like AMD is $116 a share. I don't care if it went up or down this week. I'm buying for the long haul. Warren Buffett says if you're not prepared to own a stock for 10 years, you shouldn't own it for 10 minutes. He said if you're not prepared to own a stock for 10 years, then you should not own it for 10 minutes. Now, I want you to process that for a minute. I want you to think about how different that those words are from what you hear so often on the internet. There's so many people that get you caught up into, a lot of the day trading culture, that get you caught up in, this sort of like quick flip kind of thing. And I'm not here to talk negative about anybody else's strategies or how anybody else views the markets, but I can tell you, but I do have a little bit of authority in this area. It's really, really hard to get a PhD in this stuff. It's not a game, it's not a joke. And one of the biggest things I learned consistently in my doctoral training was that market timing and trying to sort of jump in and jump out at the right time and buy the right stock at the right time is typically a very bad idea. It's a wonderful way to lose your money. It's a wonderful way to turn the stock market a place for healthy investing, substantial wealth building. It's an easy way to take the greatest wealth generator in the history of the world
Mm.
and turn it into a casino where you're going to end up with less money than you started off with. So I'm not a big fan of market timing. I just bought my AMD shares, and I now get to go tell my kids proudly that we own a percentage of the semiconductor market, and that when they make money, we make money. So that takes me from being a black man and a victim of society to being a participant in society. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like instead of me sitting back mad because rich people are getting richer, I get to say, well, we got our cut too. And this is really important for me to share with you. I mentioned to you all when I went to Harlem last week, and I went to this bookstore. It was called the Revolutionary Bookstore, and I think that the people there had a real strong Marxist, communist disposition. I have nothing against any of that. Marxism has a lot of great ideas. I like some elements of communism. All that's fine, but I said, but when they were telling me that that poor people are trapped and they can't get out of poverty. I said I just got to stop you right there because that's just not true. The stock market is as democratic as you can get. Anybody can go and buy stock in the stock market. There is no whites only sign in the stock market. There is no sign on the stock market that says you can only buy stock if you're rich. In fact, you don't even need to understand how it works. I've told you all about Burton Malkiel's experiment in 1971, where he taught monkeys how to invest in the stock market. He literally trained monkeys, and the monkeys were buying stocks, throwing darts at a wall, and the monkeys were making money. So don't be dumber than a damn monkey. Just participate, man. And I've told you all about the $5 a day plan. If you don't know about the $5 a day plan, where I've explained very clearly about 100,000 times since 2006 that any family of any income level can have a really solid amount of wealth in less than a generation by simply investing the same amount of money in the stock market that you spend on iPhones, the same amount of money that you spend on fast food, the same amount of money that you spend on shoes. I never told you to stop buying iPhones, fast food, and shoes. I never said stop doing it. I don't believe in that. I'm not saying you have to suffer to do this. I'm saying you have to have balance. I've explained to you all in this class. We're probably approaching 500 of these classes that we've done, and I've done this every day for free for anybody who would listen. You ain't got to pay money to be here. All you got to do is pay attention. A lot of people don't want to pay attention. A lot of you do, and I applaud you for that. But I've explained to you that when you're talking about the wealth building process, it really ain't that hard. You don't even need a college degree. You don't need to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth. All you need is a little bit of balance. I've explained to you the concept of an annuity. I've explained to you that wealth is an accumulation process that typically results from annuities. I've explained what an annuity is. And do anybody remember what an annuity is? An annuity is a consistent set of payments that go into the same pot over a long period of time. That's all an annuity is. It's $10, $10, $10, $10, $10, $10, $10, $10, $10, $10, $10, $10, $10. That's where wealth comes from. Wealth typically comes from an annuity. David Bach wrote a book called The Automatic Millionaire. In this book, The Automatic Millionaire, David Bach explains that there are hundreds of thousands of people, maybe millions, who hit millionaire status by simply having some sort of annuity they create for themselves and being disciplined about it. The same way you pay the light bill every month, they put money in the 401k every month. The same way you pay the cell phone bill every month, they're putting money in the stock market every month. The same way you're going out to eat once a week, they're putting money in their investments once a week. So they're still going out to eat like you. They're still going to the movies like you. They're still buying iPhones like you, but they're also making sure that they're paying themselves first. Paying yourself first is critically important. In fact, when I talk about black first, I should also call it pay yourself first, right? Maybe part of being black first means pay yourself before you start paying all these white folks and everybody else. I'm not trying to just make it racial. I'm sorry, but y'all know what it is. We've been trained to take care of everybody but us. We've been trained to be there for everybody but us. We will brag about it. Without black people, y'all couldn't have won the election. Well, what did you win? What did your neighborhood win? What did your family win? Without black people, America wouldn't be able to move. And we all start clapping. Okay, where's our trophy? Where's our wealth? Black people built this country. Ah! Okay, well, did black people build the black community? I mean, if you built America, why can't you build up your neighborhood? I really, seriously. I mean, think about that. Everybody talks all day. Give me a yes if you heard this. Let me know if you've heard this. Where people say black people built America, they built this country. Even Donald Trump said that. Did y'all remember Donald Trump gave that speech to a bunch of black Republicans? He said, yeah, I have to say it. You all built this country. So if you built America, how come you can't build up your own families? You built up the whole United States, the most powerful nation on the planet. And you can't build up your neighborhood? You built this society and you can't build up your own wealth. That don't make no damn sense. That is boo-boo backward. That literally is about as backward as I can think of. So what I will say to you is here's the deal. Look, keep doing what you're doing. Just make sure, and this is the mandatory, this is the only requirement of this class. I don't require you to pay money to be here every morning. But I do require you to get off your butt, open up a brokerage portfolio, open up a brokerage account, stop being scared, and consistently put money in that thing so that you and your kids are going to be okay. Because when I tell you about AI being a tremendous threat to millions of jobs and increasing inequality, unlike anything we've ever seen before, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. AI is not a game. It's coming. It's here. It's not even coming. It's already in your neighborhood. It's already here. So anyway, what I'm gonna do actually, by the way, is so one of the Dr. Boyce cheat sheets, if you guys if you're trying to sort of make sure everybody in your family knows how to open a brokerage account, I put together something that's as simple as possible. And it's at drboycebooks.com. I'm gonna put the link in here. And there was a code to get a discount on it. Does anybody remember the code? Was it morning now or something like that? I gotta look it up. I can't remember the code. But anyway, here's the link if you guys want to take a look at the cheat sheet, and you can share it with your family, share it with your kids. Feel free to put it on your print it out, put it on your refrigerator or something. And I would just make that like a little family project. Like literally go and just tell your kids like, okay, we're all gonna invest once a week. So I'm gonna invest $50 a week. Little rerun, you're gonna invest $5 a week. The baby's gonna invest $1 a week or something, right? Just whatever. Make it fun. Make it a family conversation. Make it into something that's gonna actually allow you to bond with each other. Remember, the thing about these financial conversations is that it's not all about money, right? It's really not all about money. It's really, in fact, the money is like the least important part of the financial conversation. It's about love. It's about love. It's like I love you enough that I'm not going to throw you out here struggling, suffering. It was morning only, all one word, morning only. Thank you, Courtney Carter. I appreciate you sharing that. I can't remember the coupon code. I was looking it up right now. Yeah, use the code morning only, and it takes a big percentage off that. There's already a discount on it. But you'll get a bigger, the link I sent you has a discount attached, but if you use morning only, it'll give you a steeper discount. So feel free to do that. Um, it really when I'm talking to the kids about preparing for life, what I'm doing is I'm reflecting on what it's like to be black in America, right? In fact, how many of you would say that being black in America can be very painful sometimes? Give me a yes. How many of you would say that being black in America can be hard? How many of you would say that being black in America ain't fair? How many of you would say that being black in America sometimes can be dangerous? How many of you would say being black in America means you have less job security, things like that? Give me a yes if you agree with that, right? So put the yeses in the chat so we can establish the foundation of this argument I'm going to make. And then I'm going to move to the next AI industry as well. We'll talk about a couple more stocks. Okay, so if you know that being black is unfair and can be painful and can be hard and you can be locked out of things, well, my question would be, what preparatory measures have been taken to not pass that generational curse to your kids? I mean, you've gone through the pain. You know what it meant, and pain should come with gain. Pain should come with some type of progress. And we've already missed one. We might have missed one opportunity, which is the fact that you might have someone that's gone through the pain of working for 50 years at a job, but has no wealth to show for it, right? Sometimes people may die even without an insurance policy, right? So that's one opportunity that's lost. The word poor stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly. So an opportunity lost is I worked 50 years, and because nobody taught me about wealth, I didn't know how to position myself so that I could have something where someone else benefits from all my hard work. Well, the other piece to it too is you did actually accumulate something else that's of tremendous value, which is knowledge and experience. And so with this knowledge, experience, and wisdom, which is a huge asset, I would think carefully about what it means to prepare the kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, mentees behind us for what's in front of them. I don't think the corporate plantation is a good place for the black man or the black woman. I just don't. I don't think that the corporate plantation is a place where we are comfortable. A lot of us go to work every day having to code switch. We come home stressed out. Mental health effects are at an all-time high. I know people who drink themselves to sleep every night. I know people who get stressed out. If you ever want to have a 3 hour conversation, get together with four other black people that work on the same plantation as you, and then just start the conversation, get some liquor or something, and then start the conversation by saying, let me tell you about the white people on my job. If you start the conversation like that, you're going to be talking all night because everybody's going to have a story. Everybody's going to have a story. Am I lying? Am I lying? So what I would say to you is, if this is so consistent, if this is systematic, if I was to do a survey and I said, how many of you have experienced racism on the job? I guarantee you that the response rate would be incredibly high. Well, that's what you call a systematic issue, right? That's not a what they call an idiosyncratic issue. Idiosyncratic is like, well, it happened to you, but it don't happen to everybody, right? It's like a bad relationship. Like you ever see guys that are like, man, all these women are gold diggers, and I'll be like, well, I mean, you dated a gold digger, I didn't, right? So, right, or all these men, all men like to beat you up. You may be like, well, most men don't do that. Yeah, so that's more idiosyncratic to some extent. It's a little systematic, but not completely, right? Because you do have bad people in the world. But when you talk about racism on the job, Lord Jesus, I mean, it's crazy to me how I could grab any black person on the street and say, have you ever experienced racism on the job? And even the least radical person, you ain't even got to be radical to be like, yeah, I have, right? In fact, let's do the experiment. All right, so I'm gonna ask this question. Have you experienced racism on the job? So everybody inside the Zoom, answer the poll. And if you're not in the Zoom, if you want to join the Zoom, make sure you text the word morning to the number 87948. Text morning to 87948. I'll invite you into the Zoom. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna hit launch right now. So answer that poll. Have you experienced racism on the job? Let's do a live experiment and let's see. And in fact, what I'm gonna even look for is I'm looking to see how many of y'all say no. I'm not saying that again, tell your truth. If you've never experienced it, if every job you've ever had, good white folks and or good black folks, maybe you work for black people. No, actually, you know what? This is for everyone who's ever worked in a company that's predominantly white. Let's do it that way. Because I think black people can I think we treat each other pretty well most of the time, except there are some exceptions. All right, so let's keep going. Oh, and somebody said Mia says I experienced it from other people of color. Oh, that's a whole nother conversation. All right, so let's keep going. I'm in the poll in five, four, three, two, one, and go. All right, here's the results. When I said how many of you have experienced racism on the job, 95% of you said yes. 95% of you said yes. 95% of you said yes. So the question that has to follow that question is, why are you okay with this? I mean, the question I would ask is, why have you done nothing about it? Or maybe some of you have, but do you think that this is just an inevitable kind of pain that you have to endure just because you're black? Did somebody train you to believe that you have no options? Did somebody train you to believe that you have no choice? Because I'll say to you, in general, if 95% of you are saying that you've experienced racism on the job, um, I think that means that something has to change structurally and systematically for us to get rid of this. I mean, this is a psychological virus, right? In fact, if you look at racism on the job and and the mental health effects and the physical health effects, they're huge. if you were to, for example, if you were to just look it up, like the mental health effects of racism on the job. Let's look this up. Okay, so here are the mental and physical health effects. One of the things that's interesting to me is that when we talk about racism, a lot of times we'll talk about police shootings or Donald Trump or something like that, or KKK members that we heard about in some county that we've never been to. But I don't see us talking about what I consider to be the most pervasive, most painful type of racism, where you're consistently exposed to the virus, you're consistently exposed, you're consistently infected with the pain of that racism. Here are some mental and physical health effects. Chronic stress and anxiety. It's my anxiety. Somebody's watching me. Anxiety. Right? We sing about our anxiety. Constantly navigating microaggressions triggers hypervigilance. Walking on eggshells burns a mental bandwidth. How many do you feel like you walk on eggshells so you don't have to deal with bad people or bad situations, right? Your cortisol levels are like, and then you wonder why you're having chest pains. It leads to generalized anxiety, panic attacks, and difficulty focusing or sleeping. Why would you pass that to your children? Do you want your children to feel that way every day and every morning? Um, I don't know. Depression and hopelessness. If you experience racism on the job on a regular basis, you will feel devalued and or tokenized, and that can lead to symptoms of worthlessness, low energy, and even the ideation of taking your own life. Mm. So they killing y'all. They killing you. Internalized racism can cause deep identity wounds and emotional numbing. So you become emotionally numb. That's going to help you in a relationship. Post-traumatic stress disorder. Repeated exposure to discriminatory treatment causes trauma similar to PTSD, flashbacks, avoidance, and anger outbursts. Has anybody experienced any of that? Give me a yes if you've experienced flashbacks. I know I do. I used to fantasize when I used to when I remember the one instance of racism on the job. I used to make myself feel better by fantasizing about jumping across my boss's desk and like just beating the hell out of him. And I wrote about that in my book, What If George Bush Were a Black Man? That was like the fantasy that gave me comfort. Um, thank God I didn't do it. All right, how many of you have flashbacks, avoidance? Maybe you avoid certain environments. My racial PTSD affects me to this day. And I still, it never goes away. I have a really hard time going into like corporate settings that are full of white people and really trusting the people that I'm talking to. I just can't. It's like I've seen y'all just do some dirty stuff, I'm not gonna be your sucker no more. And unfortunately, that can make me the asshole because these may be really good people, really nice people. I met some really nice people at Chevron when I went to the Daytona 500, and I had to have a talk with myself. I was like, okay, boys, relax. Like these are really nice people. They're human. They're good guys, and I became friends with them. I let my guard down a little bit, not to the point where I wanted to come work for them, but to the point where I had to confront the pain that racism has caused me in the past. You start off being kind and friendly and loving everybody, and then somebody just stabs you right in the chest, and you start feeling like being nice is a liability. It's hard. A lot of people go through that. Black professionals may avoid speaking up to protect themselves from retaliation, further reinforcing the trauma cycle. So a lot of times you're quiet, just like the slaves used to be quiet, so massa wouldn't beat them and kill them. Imposter syndrome. Even qualified professionals begin to doubt their worth or competence, especially common in high achieving black employees in predominantly white or toxic environments. So it's not just poor black people that go through this. It's it's middle class. It's the guy with the master's degree from Duke University. It's the woman who got her PhD at Harvard. It's the corporate executive who climbed up the ladder and he's the vice president of plastic widgets at Crappy Do Corporation, right? And so a lot of us go through this. Now let's look at the physical health effects. And I want you to connect this. I want to lay out a theory that I think the rest of the world is going to understand this or start talking about this maybe in the next decade or something. I'm hoping that they will. Right now, all they'll talk about is George Floyd and police shootings and KKK members and whether or not white people like you. I think that the place that you spend the most time given that that place, which is your job, because a lot of us spend more time with our job than we spend with our kids, right? Which is another artifact of capitalism. That this is what makes me a Marxist. I'm like, why would you spend more time with your employer than you do with your own children? That's not normal, but we think it's normal because they told us it's normal, right? So I think that that form of racism is the racism that we probably would do best addressing. And one solution is economic independence. If you have some degree of financial sovereignty, it does not take a lot of money to become economically independent. It just takes some financial responsibility mixed with the building of some sort of a capital base that can allow you to not have to spend all your time around people who want to traumatize you over and over and over again. But it also is a intergenerational plan. That's where the insurance policy matters. You leave the insurance policy, the kids have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, and you teach them how to be smart, responsible with the money. They don't have to go to work anymore. They're okay. They can actually stay in safe spaces. They can be around people that they actually trust instead of having to go and leave their safe space to go and get resources. See, on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, this is in psychology where they talk about human needs and the baseline needs. The most basic need, I think, is food and water. And then the next basic need is like security, like shelter, stuff like that. So if you don't have like the basics, like you can't feed yourself, which a lot of us can't feed ourselves without the corporate plantation, right? You can't feed yourself, then what happens is you'll give up your security to go get food and water. So you leave the security of your safe space. You know, you wake up, you're around your beautiful black wife, your wonderful husband, your beautiful kids, your wonderful family, and you leave that safe space to go across town to hostile territory to get resources because you can't feed yourself unless you go over there and ask Home Depot to do it for you, right? And so if you want the kids to be safe, then you say, no, we're going to make sure that you have all the resources you need right there in your safe space. For example, there are times I don't one of the things that keeps me from really being that angry with white folks is that I don't talk to them that much. I don't hate them. I don't have anything against anybody. That's not how I'm built. But I don't really talk to them. I can go 3 or 4 weeks without talking to a single white person. I kid you not. Literally, I talk to you. Most of y'all are black. There's probably a white person in here that sneaks in. It's okay. You're one of us. If you're smart enough to learn from black people, that means you're intelligent, and I respect you for that. But generally speaking, it's like I talk to my wife in the morning, talk to the kids in the afternoon, talk to y'all in the morning too. Have a couple meetings with other black people, watch a movie and then or something, I don't know, go to the gym and then go to bed. And that would be my typical day. And that's a day that I think could be framed for everybody. I think everybody, if you give the kids like the gift of entrepreneurship and teach them early how to start businesses and how to invest, who says they need to go get a job? It takes about the same amount of effort to invest and build a business as it takes to do backflips for your employer. It's similar. It takes about the same amount of energy to fill out the form for an LLC as it takes to fill out 300 job applications or whatever, right? Right? So why not make that the new paradigm? I really think that should be our new paradigm of thought. I actually, when in 2013, I wrote that short book. It's really short. It's called It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, a New Paradigm for Black America. And in this book, I pretty much laid out 4 pillars for the new paradigm, and it's centered around wealth, education, family, and community. Wealth, education, family, and community. And all the community really is, for the most part, is a collection of families and some sort of, structure and, things like that, right? And so if you have strong families, you tend to have strong communities. And if you have wealth and education in those communities, then you have a strong Black America. That was and really around the world. It applies to any community anywhere. And so the solutions are not complex. What's complex is overcoming our brainwashing. So let me finish up on this. I'm going to finish talking about how your job is killing you. Here are some other ways that racism on the job affects your physical health. Cardiovascular problems. Chronic exposure to racism increases blood pressure and heart rate. How many of y'all know a black person that's got hypertension or had heart disease or had a stroke? Anybody? Anybody? I'm raising both hands because I got several relatives that have had hypertension, heart disease, and strokes. Well, that's probably linked to racism on the job, working with people that don't like you. A lot of psychology studies show that if you are in a space where the people around you or a person near you has contempt for you, you are more likely to die early. That's like even a bad relationship. That's why contempt is one of the four horsemen of an argument. You have to avoid the contempt because if you have a partner that has contempt for you and you have contempt for them, y'all pretty much are killing each other. That's some black on black homicide right there. All right, let's keep going. Um, let's see here. So basically black people who face workplace bias are at significantly higher risk for cardiovascular disease by midlife. It weakens your immune system. Long-term stress reduces immune response, making the body more vulnerable to infections and slower to heal. So black workers tend to have more sick days and are less likely to report them though because they're afraid of losing their job. So not only are you more likely to be sick, but you don't even take the day off, so which makes you sicker. Insomnia and fatigue. Workplace racism creates a state of emotional alertness, right, where you feel like you have to live with your head on a swivel that disrupts healthy sleeping cycles, which leads to fatigue, irritability, and decreased productivity, which then gets used as false proof of underperformance. And also, a lot of times people will cope with through things like eating, which can cause obesity. If you notice, a lot of our folks that are overweight, and so I would encourage everybody who ends up sort of feeling this way, go to the gym. Like get some of that out of you. Like don't just carry all that in you. When I see someone that's like morbidly obese, I because of what I've been exposed to through my wife, all I see is trauma, built up trauma that hasn't been released. That's what I see. I just see it's like a trauma response. It's like you're wearing your addiction on your body, right? So ultimately, the studies show that excessive eating it's just it can be a coping mechanism like and really this is where emotional intelligence comes into play and really sort of being aware self-aware and thinking about like how do I feel when I eat a bowl of ice cream or if I get really stressed out what am I likely to do, right? A lot of people have a stress response and that might be the key to understanding yourself and overcoming your addiction. All right. Now, I did say I would answer some questions in here, so let me answer a few questions. Now, one thing I'm gonna do really quickly is mention another area of artificial intelligence, and I'm gonna give you a couple stocks worth looking at. Um, Cloud computing and data infrastructure is gonna be massive. Companies are spending trillions of dollars buying these data centers everywhere, and they're putting a lot of them like in black neighborhoods and stuff. Like Memphis is real big, Atlanta's real big on data centers. I don't know how I feel about that, but it's the thing. And companies like Microsoft and Amazon are at the top of the pile with that. So long term, you really can't go wrong with long term investments in Microsoft and Amazon. Also, you have software and enterprise. That's a division of AI where you're building a lot of tools for businesses that are built around AI so that companies can automate. Automation is happening in a lot of companies. They won't ever tell you that they're laying people off due to automation, but they are. I mean, if their goal is to maximize shareholder wealth, which is one of the unfortunate realities of capitalism, why would they pay somebody $40 an hour to do a job that a robot can do for 10 cents an hour, right? Or why would they pay a person to do something that a chatbot can do for free, right? So companies like Palantir, PLTR, and Salesforce, the ticker symbol CRM, those might be companies to look at. And one of my favorites is robotics and automation. So type that in PLTR and CRM. Type that in the chat, please, so everybody can see it. Another area that I think is massive is robotics and automation. Tesla is leading the charge on that. I don't care what anybody thinks about Elon Musk. I own shares in Tesla. I'm not selling those damn things because they are ahead of the curve on autonomous vehicles. They're also ahead of the curve on robots. And so, again, I don't know how you feel about that, but it's only my job to tell you where the money's at. There's a lot of expectation in that industry that Tesla is going to take the lead, but maybe if Elon dies or something, and then maybe all bets are off. There's another company called Intuitive Surgical, ISRG, which innovates in robotic surgery. It uses AI to kind of guide precision, things like that. And then the last really important area is cybersecurity. And basically, when you have AI, you're more vulnerable to cybersecurity attacks, things like that. Companies like CRWD, they're big in that area, and also Palo Alto Networks, PANW. So those might be some stocks to look at. Again, this is not investing advice. This is just me sharing with you some things that you can do to participate. Melissa, should I get a few shares in Van Eck Semiconductor ETF? Yeah, I think ETFs are great, Melissa, for sure. ETFs can really help you with that. And if you want to get better at stock market investing, which I highly recommend, I wrote my dissertation on the stock market. So we have a great stock market investors club. You can join at drboycestockmarket.com. So go to drboycestockmarket.com. We meet every Tuesday, and we kind of do the rundown of different stocks that I like, and I answer all your questions, and we go through just literally any and everything I can think to explain to you when it comes to stock market investing. And I want you to share it with your kids though. Like so if you sign up for something, share it with your family. That'll help make it all more cost efficient. Even though like I'm a professor and at Syracuse University, the students now pay $100,000 a year to learn from people like me. And in the Black Business School, we have to charge a fee because I want to build an independent institution, but the amount that we charge is literally one thousandth of what a Syracuse University charges. But we teach you better because we're more in tune with your needs. We focus specifically on Black wealth. We don't focus on the wealth of any other community. And building Black wealth requires a deeper connection to the externalities, meaning the things that are not directly financial, right? You have to talk about the family if you're going to talk about Black wealth. To talk about Black wealth, you got to talk about the mental health issues. To talk about Black wealth, you got to talk about the relationships. To talk about Black wealth, you got to talk about racism in America. You have to talk about all these things, and you know, to talk about the lack of access to capital, right? So the models to understand Black wealth, the reason that all these other people swear that they don't understand it and they can't solve it is because they don't understand all these other variables that impact it. I can't really talk to a young Black man about money until I talk to him about what it's like to be a young Black man. His rules of existence are very different from if the fact from what life would be like if he was a white girl, right? So there's no one size fits all model when it comes to wealth, right? So let's see here. Dylan, how do we start annuities? Do we go to our life insurance agent? What do you suggest? I think you can just give yourself an annuity if you're disciplined about it. I'm not saying don't talk to the life insurance agent. I think that there's some interesting life insurance products out there, but really, index universal life policy, stuff like that, in my view, I think insurance is important for sure. So term or whole life, critically important. But Aisha Verzi's in there in the chat, and she can help you. So hit Aisha up. She's great. She's a friend to the school, and I love her. But you know, the reality is like a lot of the policies, if you look at the structure, the mathematical structure of the amount you're putting in and how long it takes for it to really allow you to kind of like be your own bank and stuff like that, there's shorter ways to do it. The difference, but the truth of the matter though is that most people don't have the discipline to save consistently. So what you do with a policy like that is you're really creating a bill, another bill that you have to pay every month. I know so many people that pay all their bills every month but ain't got nothing saved. And I'm not making fun of you in this category. It's a result of your training. That's how you were trained. You were trained to pay your bills on time to keep your credit score up. So I know so many people who will pay every single bill on time. Light bill, gas bill, water bill, car note, cell phone bill, rent, and pay everything on time, but they don't leave anything for themselves, right? And so what Warren Buffett says is, and I agree with him because it's a simple idea. He says, don't spend first and save what's left. He said, save first and then spend what's left. And so effectively, all you're doing is you're creating another bill, which is in your pattern, your flow of how you normally deal with your financial challenges, and the bill pays you. It benefits you. It's your capital base, but that's a mindset shift. Thank you, Valerie. That's a great term. The mindset shift is that you have to think of your own economic life as an entity that is as valuable as these corporations that you're supporting. Like if I show you a corporation, if I show you Walmart or Amazon, you see this organization, you see structure, you see a capital base, you see an institution, right? But when you look at your own family, do you see the same thing? Do you see a structure? Do you see a capital base? Do you see an institution? If you don't see it, then that's because you're trained not to see it. But you can train yourself to see that. When I see Boyce Watkins Enterprises or the Boyce Watkins family, I see an institution that needs its own capital base. So I have to pay an annuity toward that institution to make sure that it stays strong so that once I'm gone, everything's going to maintain and that people are going to benefit financially because I existed. So these little tools like the insurance, very important. If you can't save consistently, then trick yourself into saving. Get you an annuity, pop the money in there. Well, you can get annuities where you put in a lump sum of money, or you pay into something over time, then eventually they start paying you out. So there's different ways it might be structured. But when I'm talking about annuity, I'm talking about a consistent set of payments. And the annuity may be coming out of your pocket. You may be actually be paying money every month towards something. So an annuity might be me putting $100 a week into my stock portfolio. That's an annuity. I paid, child support payments for 18 years, consistent payments. That was an annuity, right? And annuities that get invested, you can do math to calculate how much that annuity is worth over a certain amount of time, and that kicks into something called the time value of money, where you might count up over 20 years that you paid, say, $100,000 towards some annuity. But if it's properly invested, that $100,000 should be three or $400,000. Why? Well, because of compound interest. You need compound interest to work in your favor. Compound interest is like economic wind. Some of us are running with the wind. Some of us are running against the wind. The person who owns stock is running with the wind. You're benefiting from compound interest. The worker who doesn't invest, you're running against the wind. Inflation pops in, it kicks you in your butt. You're paying all these bills, you're getting no benefit. You're consuming like crazy, spending lots of money, you're getting no benefit. You're paying rent to the landlord, you're getting no benefit. But the landlord benefits from your rental payment. He's running with the wind. You're running against the wind. So when you're investing all that money in his family by paying your rent every month, he's taking that money, he's buying himself property, and property values are naturally going up. So when inflation hits, he wins because inflation, first thing that goes up with inflation is the property value. So he wins when inflation hits. You freak out because the cost of bananas just went up another 30%, right? I can keep going down the list. I'm not going to keep going. I'm not going to belabor the point, but I think you get the point. Let me know if you get that point. So with this economy, you want to position your family so you're running with the wind. You want compound interest to work in your favor. You want inflation to work in your favor. You want everything that drives American capitalism to work in your favor, and it's not that hard. Participate in the stock market, looking into getting into real estate as soon as you can, starting businesses, like taking the time to train yourself and your family on business ownership, making that part of the culture. Because what that'll do is that'll train you to see business opportunities so that when when an opportunity emerges, you won't just be looking for a paycheck. Okay. All right. Tasman, how much money do you need or recommend to start your prime service? Because selling cover calls requires capital, if I'm not correct. You know what, Tasman, I would say if you want to activate and actually sell call options, I think that a capital base of $4,000 to $5,000 is a good place to begin. And I've seen people get together with family members and pull their money together. Some people who've maybe been saving in their 401ks and stuff, or have a little home equity they can borrow against, or some you have to have some type of access to capital to be able to apply it. But remember, I learned all this stuff and I didn't have any capital when I learned it. So sometimes remember, learning is a type of investing too. You're not investing money, but you're investing time. Never think that investing is always only about money. In fact, most investing has nothing to do with money. Investing is the allocation of scarce resources towards some sort of long-term benefit. What's a scarce resource in your life? Okay, you think you're broke because you don't have any money? Is that well, if you think you're broke because you don't have any money, then you haven't been listening in class. Money is probably the least valuable thing that you have in your possession. I have money, but money is the least valuable thing that I have. I've been a millionaire for about 40 years now, probably, maybe 35, I don't know. And why do I say that? Well, because when I was 22, I didn't have any money, but I was a straight A student with a college degree. I had two bachelor's degrees and I had a triple major. So I was already a millionaire. I had insane amounts of knowledge. I was teaching college students when I was 22 years old at Indiana University. Um, I had my youth, lots of energy to invest in the things that I wanted to do. I had time. 22 years old, I have a lot more time than I have at 53. So I was already a millionaire. I just didn't have any money yet. Do you understand? So if you don't have money to invest, Stop stop letting that lead you to believe that you have no wealth. You're incredibly wealthy already, but I'm just here to guide you to the money. I want you to have the money because the money is a critical component of it all, but sometimes the money doesn't come right away. So the knowledge, when you're filling your brain up with knowledge and you're saying, okay, I'm gonna spend 2 hours a day investing time into learning whatever I'm learning, yeah, you're giving yourself an annuity. That, when I would study 7, 8 hours a day working on my doctorate, that was my annuity to myself. I still benefit financially and otherwise at 53 from annuities I was paying myself at the age of 23. Do you understand? So I really need you to stop thinking about wealth as cash. Cash is these worthless little green pieces of paper that only have psychological value. If people stop believing in cash or stop believing in the federal government, which they're testing your faith right now because they keep building these larger and larger deficits and they keep devaluing the dollar consistently. Um, it you know if people stop believing in those dollars, then they lose their value. All right, let's see. Is Joby a good stock to invest in? I don't have time to look it up, Lisa, but I've heard of it. I think they're an aviation company. I think they're doing those eVTOLs. Yeah, which is basically these vehicles that I forgot what the eVTOL stands for, but long story short, they're like these little drone type things that take off and they lift straight up and fly. Yeah, Joby. I like Joby. I own Joby. Rodney Ray, for the summer months, can you start speaking directly to kids? Starting Monday, my kids will be on these classes every day through summer. It'd be great if we spoke directly to them. I told you them you are their teacher and professor. That's a great point, Rodney. I don't have the time to do an extra class right now. Um, but maybe we can consider that. At the very least, I try my best not to cuss during the morning class because I know that some people bring their kids. But then again, I my daddy used to cuss all the time, so that's so if I ever slip up, it's blame it on my daddy. But and come on, they're hearing this stuff anyway. They got access to the internet. Come on now. But anyway, regardless though, I would say that when it comes to kids for this summer, at the very least, I know for sure we have financial flashcards for kids. So you can go to financialflashcards.com. We got flashcards on every type of topic that I think kids need to know on stock market investing, real estate investing, entrepreneurship, crypto, and stock options. I've never seen flashcards for stock options for kids, but I want to be as serious about training our kids on wealth as we are about training them to play in the NFL. When you're training kids to play in the NFL, you give them the best training possible and you make them into elite athletes. So I want the kids to be elite economic athletes. I want them to be the best on earth. So yeah, it's okay to teach your 4-year-old about stock options. They're gonna know a lot about options, whether you teach them or not. Every young black man in a jail cell knows what it feels like to have no options. There's no prison I couldn't go to and find a young black man who couldn't explain to me what it means to have options and not have options. So they're going to learn about options whether you teach them or not. It's up to you to decide if you're going to teach them about all the options they can have, stock options and every other type of option, or if they're just going to learn about options from their homeboys. Financialflashcards.com. We have workbooks. We spent years developing workbooks for every single grade band. You can go to financialworkbooks.com if you want to look at those. It's all at drboycebooks.com. That's our bookstore. But if you want to go straight to the flashcards, you can go to financialflashcards.com. So feel free to take a look. Let's see here. Sharon, can we practice with stock options with smaller amounts of money? I don't know what you mean by smaller amounts, but if you own 100 shares of a stock, you can, I mean, remember, you don't even have to own 100 shares to trade options. You could just buy an option right now if you want to. Like if I hopped in my phone and I said, I want to get a call option on, um, I don't know. I want to get a call option on Oklo. Oklo's that stock that we've been talking about that's doing really well right now. So I could hit buy and I could go in, or actually I could trade options. I could pick a date, June 13th. I could hit buy a call option and the price is $50.10. So I could buy a call option with a strike price of 52 that expires in 1 week. It would cost me $2.10. That means that for 100 shares, it would cost me $210. Buying options is very cheap. It's like financial crack, though. The buy side is financial crack, and I call it financial crack because because crack is very cheap and it's very addictive. So stock options are financial crack, and they attract lots of like really excited like 25-year-old guys because they know they can go in here and buy this option on Oklo and pay $2.42 per share, and they have to buy 100, so they pay 242 bucks. And if the stock does a major run, like if it goes from $50 to $60 or something, they can turn that 242 bucks into 1,000 or something. So, but here's the problem. They don't know the research. I've read a lot of the research papers, and the research papers basically say that people who buy out of the money call options like that, they lose money. So basically, you think your 242 is gonna flip into 1,000, but your 242 turns into zero. But then again, though, I mean, some people don't care. Some people are like, that's okay. I'm willing to lose 242 for the chance to make $1,000, even if the odds are small. That's why Vegas makes so much money. Most people leave Vegas with less money than they had when they got there. But people still keep going to Vegas. Millions of people go to Vegas and they love to gamble. Why? Well, because they're engaging in what economists refer to as risk-seeking behavior. They enjoy taking chances. They like getting out there, rolling the dice, and it's a dopamine rush. Gambling generates dopamine, which is the same energy that you get when you have sex. It's the same feeling you get when you eat chocolate cake. It's the same feeling you get when, when you win, when you win money or whatever, right? So ultimately, um, that's what it is, right? So I don't buy those options though. I tend to sell them. And that requires a little bit more of a capital base, but that's more so built around my preference. My preference is I don't really want to take the gamble. I'll just take the cash, but I wish you the best of luck. I hope that you win. Okay? Because if you win, if you lose, I still won, but if you win, I win too. So I like that. That makes more sense for me. But then again, it's because I'm 53. Maybe if I was 23, I would feel different. Dylan Smith, can you ask Aisha to put her contact in the chat? Yeah, Dylan, Aisha, put your number in there so Dylan can grab it. And if y'all call Aisha though, don't be wasting her time now. Make sure you call her because you're ready to do some serious business. Aisha is a busy woman. I think Aisha's in here. Aisha, are you still here? If you're still here, put your phone number in there. She's a great friend, and I have a lot of respect for her. And I'm glad she comes to class every day. Yvette, I'm a prime student. I'd like to see a list of stocks that I can trade options on with 4 or 5K to get in the game to learn as I earn. Great question, Yvette. If you look at the Moneymaker grid, the latest Moneymaker grid, if you log in drboyceprime.com, the Moneymaker grid has some stocks in there. I specifically chose some stocks that are under like $15, that kind of thing. And actually today I'll do some more Q&A on it. I'll answer. So you log in and leave me questions, and I'm going to do a video and answer a bunch of your stock options questions. And those who want to join us, just go to drboyceprime.com. I think you'll like what you see. Let's see here. Do you have a list of side hustles or businesses that you can start with your kids or family members? Um, yeah, you know what? If you go to drboycebooks.com, I put together a little like ebook kind of thing, 13 side hustles that you can start for less than $100. And what I'll do is I'm gonna grab that link, and you can use the discount. And the discount code. No, actually, that code earlier, I think it only works for that other thing, but it still doesn't cost that much. But there we go. There's the link. So there's the list of 13 side hustles you can start for under $100. And basically the side hustle is I mean, that's to me that should be required learning for every single person who wants to have a little more financial control over your life. Side hustles are great because they allow you to supplement your income without necessarily disrupting your whole life. A side hustle can make up for maybe if you don't have an economic partner, like you're not married. If you have a nice little side hustle, then it can be almost like being married. If you're thinking about marriage, I would encourage you to incorporate the economic side of partner selection because if you get somebody that can bring some income in or help you get some things done, that makes a big difference. Okay, a few other questions. Can you set up curriculums for children? Absolutely, Barbara. If you go to blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com, write that down. Somebody type that in. Blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. There's a whole curriculum for children. We've had this for a while. We have the best black business school for children on the planet. Blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. It's a digital curriculum your children can go through. The material, we have 15 things every child should know about investing, 15 things every child should know about the stock market, 15 things every child should know about real estate. And when they get done, they go through the material. Give them like $10. Just say, I'll give you $10 if you go through all these videos. And it's not that long. It'll probably take them a couple hours. And then when they get done, they could take a self-study examination after each module. And if they pass all the exams, then they can get a certificate. And the certificate was created largely because my wife, as a therapist, helped me understand the importance of symbolism when it comes to shaping identity, especially for young people. Kids are looking to find out who they are. And when you give them that certificate and you say you are a black millionaire of tomorrow, you're helping them to say, okay, this is what I'm good at. This is who I am. I'm the investor. I'm the real estate expert. I'm the person that's gonna, go and elevate our family economically, right? So they internalize this. Like I've seen this. I've seen transformations. I've seen kids making straight F's in school who got into stock market investing and they loved it so much. Where some of them, Constance Carter's son, he had almost $100,000 by the time he finished high school, and he just had an interest in it, and he jumped in. He took some money. She gave him the 3 or 4 thousand. He turned it into 80,000 or 60,000 or something crazy like that. And then next thing you know, this kid has a ton of money. And when I met him, the conversation was different. It wasn't like the conversation you have with like a kid who's like, oh, I don't know, I'm gonna go get me a little job and do whatever. He was standing next to his brothers, and I said, look, all three of you are sitting on a multi-million dollar empire. What I need you to do is I need you to connect the dots. I need you to wire into each other. You already have the wiring of building that empire because you love each other, you're connected to each other, you talk to each other every day. You have investing knowledge far more than most college graduates have. And I said, all I need you to do right now is accelerate the process and take yourself seriously. I said, you're not a boy, you're a man. You're 18, you're 19, you're 22. I need y'all to just really understand when you present yourselves as businessmen, the world will treat you like businessmen. But if you present yourselves as misguided kids that don't know, what's happening next and don't have a purpose or a plan, then people are going to treat you like a kid. So you make a decision. Are you going to show up as a man or are you going to show up as a child? And the reason that's important, I think, for black people to get is I think that there's just an expectation that black men will show up as victims or confused or distracted or chasing women and doing nothing else, just silly things, right? And I don't think that has to be the case. So this kid's going to be a millionaire. I already know it. He's already got $100,000 and he's 18, 19 years old. So he's definitely on his way. It's going to happen. All right. Let's see. Regina, I have an LLC. Have not done anything with it. I really don't have clarity. Should I maintain my LLC? I don't see why not, Regina. I mean, I would sort of look at what the cost is to maintain it, and then maybe get together with your family members, have regular family business meetings. I believe everybody who has a family should have a family business meeting. If you don't have a family, just create one. Come to the All Black National Convention. The All Black National Convention is going to be in August in Atlanta. It's a great place to meet your relatives. It's a great place to connect with people that are on the same agenda, same page as you, that can match your vibe, match your energy level, match your enthusiasm, match your commitment to blackness, your commitment to success. And you get together, and next thing you know, you'll find yourself, you know, you'll find yourself with a group of people that you can build with. Go look at the history of the greatest companies in America. Jensen Huang, who runs NVIDIA, which is worth about $3 trillion now, he got together with his buddies and they sat down at a Denny's and made a plan. If you go listen to Jensen Huang talk about when he started NVIDIA in the 90s, he's like, I didn't know what to do. None of us knew what to do next. We just knew we wanted to have a business together. So they just jumped into this journey together, and next thing you know, 30 years later, they got this $3 trillion company. So if they can do that and create a $3 trillion company, then you could probably do this and create a $3 million company, right? It's not that difficult if you are committed and you're consistent and you're willing to pour into something. See, the things that you pour into, the things you invest in, are the things that are going to grow. Plants that don't get watered and don't get fed, they eventually die. Plants that get watered and fed consistently, they grow. You don't know what it's going to look like. Nothing's guaranteed, but you've maximized your probability of growth because you committed to pouring into this thing. So the same way you marry a person, you have to marry your dream. The same way you marry, your wife or your husband, maybe you marry the group, you marry the collective, you marry something that you marry the business that you and this other person are going to start. And you just sort of have this flow where you're like, yeah, both of us have agreed, all of us have agreed that this entity is going to be our primary focal point. So every day or every week, we're all pouring into the same bucket, and that bucket can't help but to get bigger. But you got to find the right people to pour into the bucket because you don't want people pouring poison into the bucket because that can be an issue. Dylan, Dr. Boyce, what's your email address? Don't email me, Dylan, because my email. I don't even check. I check email once every 2 weeks because I get 1,000 emails a day, and I'm just it's very stressful. So so if you want to email the team, email support at theblackbusinessschool.com. Support at theblackbusinessschool.com. Rodney, just so you know, my kids are 16 and 13. Are the flashcards for kids that age? Yeah. It says, I didn't know. Does it say kids up to 14? You said it seems like it's kids. I don't think it says kids up to 14, but literally with the flashcards, what's happened is we have 70-year-olds that have benefited from the flashcards. You see, here's the thing. I think that like one of the things that I have a challenge with is that I'm good at explaining things in simple ways, but I believe you should understand things at the highest level, even if you're a kid. So any kid who understands what's in those flashcards will have a financial literacy level that exceeds the average college educated adult. There are concepts in those cards and in the curriculum, in our Black Millionaires of Tomorrow curriculum, that MBA students don't know from Yale. I mean, this is not. I don't think there's any reason for us to assume that somehow, being black means we have to have a disabled curriculum or something, or like no. I set high expectations, right? So basically, if your kids are 13 and 14, um, no, there's definitely going to be stuff in there that they don't know yet. And I would encourage you to make sure that they know those things, and that's going to make a massive difference for them. I just can't tell you how much of a difference it'll make long term. Um, and by the way, the Black Wealth Mastery store where you can get all this stuff is drboycebooks.com. So feel free to go to drboycebooks.com. Tasman, can you do a video training on budgeting monthly expenses, or have you already done this? Um, you know what? That's interesting. We are working on some stuff on budgeting. I'll let you know when it's ready. We do have some stuff in place somewhere, but we're actually revamping some stuff, and I know that Ketchy, who's on our team, has just put together a course for the Ten Commandments of Black Economic Power. It's a digital course. I think she might have emailed you guys about it, and I don't have a URL in front of me, but I'll grab a link and I'll text it out to you. Make sure you're on the text list for this class. Text the word morning to the number 87948. So text morning to 87948. Matthew, Dr. Boyce, what's the ticker symbol for the surgical AI stock you talked about earlier? Let's see, surgical AI. The ticker symbol for surgical AI, let me see if I can find it here. It was ISRG, ISRG, ISRG. Let's see here. Dylan, how can I talk to you privately? Yeah, you can email support at theblackbusinessschool.com. I don't do a lot of one-on-one consultations anymore just because since my mother passed Christmas Eve, our family's had some stuff to kind of figure out, and my time is pretty limited. So I don't do a lot of one-on-one consultations, but I could do one every blue moon. So if you want to do a consultation, email support at theblackbusinessschool.com. They can show you what to do with that. Do you do courses on learning about artificial intelligence? No, but we're going to have a conference soon because I feel like AI is that important. I think that we should make that a top priority. So that's definitely in the works. And so I'll let you guys know when we're putting something together for that. That'll be soon, sooner rather than later. So all right, so let me get out of here. And by the way, at the All Black National Convention, also we're inviting some AI experts there as well. There will be breakout sessions on AI. AI is just kind of the topic that everybody's talking about. So. If you want to get your passes to the All Black National Convention, you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. This is going to be the biggest convention ever. It's our 10th anniversary. I think we should clap for ourselves. I mean, this is something we have done independent and black and powerful for the last decade. And we have not taken money from the government. No, there's no DEI money, no government grants. We have not taken money from corporations. This was never Black liberation brought to you by McDonald's and Walmart. You know, we did this. Like we did the dang thing, and we've had some amazing convention. I mean, the very first one, Killer Mike came in and just did an amazing job. We had Judge Olu Stevens, who out of Louisville, the CEO, former CEO of the Air Jordan brand, Larry Miller, came to see us in Charlotte. Billionaire Mike Roberts has been there. Riza Islam, a lot of really great people. I can't even name Brother Nuri Muhammad, who I just love to death. Dr. George C. Frazier, Dr. Claude Anderson. I can keep going. I can't even name everybody that's been at the conventions. They've been really remarkable. And this year, you know, Dr. Ken Harris is doing an amazing thing too. Will there be a B1 ball this year? There will be a ball, but it won't be the B1 ball because we're partnering with. This is what makes this year so big. Normally the convention, I've always wanted to have it like 600 or 700 people. I never wanted to have like Invest Fest. I don't want just any like tons of people there. I wanted it to be intimate, but have enough people there where there's variety. But I like the intimacy of it. So it's more like a conference than a convention. And we designed it that way. We're not out here just trying to get any and everybody to come. And so this year though, we found a great group to partner with, the Black Business League, run by Dr. Ken Harris. Sorry, the National Business League, not the Black. I'm sorry, the National Business League. It was started by Booker T. Washington 125 years ago. They're having their 125th anniversary this year. So they're coming in. We're partnering also with Black Chambers of Commerce all across America. That's important because you're talking about Black business development at a massive, massive scale. They're doing business delegations to South America, Africa, all kinds of stuff. It's really, really extraordinary. And in fact, Ken told me the delegations of six African presidents are coming as well to this year. So this is going to be huge. This is Black history. This is the kind of event that's going to be talked about 100 years from now, right? You think about the great events in Black history in terms of Black people coming together, doing something amazing, Million Man March type stuff. You know, like this is right there in terms of massive, massive amounts of economic achievement and focus in one spot. So if you are interested in Black economics on any level, highly encourage you to come to Atlanta and join us there because it's going to be absolutely epic. And I think, if you do like Invest Fest, which I have nothing against, I love what they're doing, that's going to actually be down the street. So you can go there too. I went to Invest Fest and I had a great time there and saw my buddy D1 and the guys over there. So there's just it's really kind of like this Harlem Renaissance type of energy that we've been able to create over the last 15, 20 years, right? Since 2006, when I started doing this stuff publicly, it was really hard back then to talk about Black wealth. Didn't nobody want to hear about it. All the urban radio stations said Black people don't care about wealth. And we kept pushing. And so now it's just everywhere. You know, now it's the thing to do. Now it's wealth is the new black. Wealth is the new black. And what I want you to really see is I don't want you to just see what's happening now. We can get excited about what's happening now. We're in about year 12 of the 67-year plan that I wrote about in my book. It takes a village to raise the bar. I wrote a 67. I call it Project 2070. So we're in year 12. We're still in the beginning. We're in the infancy of this, right? So it's great to be excited about what you see now, but what I really want you to see is the future. I need you to see what's down the line. I want you to understand that we're still planting seeds. We ain't really growing no crops yet. We're still planting the seeds. So when the seeds get planted, let 5 years go by, 10 years go by, 20 years go by. Imagine thousands of people doing the $5 a day plan. After 10 years, the average investor has about $29,000 in their account. After 20 years, they have 100,000. After 30 years, they have a quarter million. After 40 years, they have three-quarters of $1 million, right? So you keep going and you imagine that and you multiply that by thousands of people. And then they also have top level knowledge where wealth is the new black. So in the culture, you've got economic intelligence as a fundamental part of the culture. So you have as many black people that know how to invest as there are who know how to dance. You have as many black people that are building a stock portfolio as there are who play basketball and football, right? You have just blackness becomes connected. B1 culture becomes connected with wealth building at an epic level. You do that across just one generation. Within one generation, you'll have more than one black person running a multi-trillion dollar company. I guarantee you, what's the year 2025? I want somebody in the year 2055 to watch this video and tell me if I'm correct. Hopefully, I'll be around to see it. You're going to have multiple black people who are connected to B1 culture who are going to run multi-trillion dollar companies, not just one, maybe three, four, five. It's going to be on that, and you're going to have, and the number of billionaires you won't even be able to count. This is what you're building. You're building billionaires. We're building this future. It's going to be extraordinary. I know the math. This is all we do. All we do when you become a finance professor, all you do is you're calculating projections and looking at what they call the future value of money. So the math tells me that we're gonna dominate so much that by that point we'll probably need to have a military or something to protect it because because when you build something, somebody's going to come and try to take it. That's a given. It's not a if, it's a when, right? It's gonna be that epic. I guarantee it. So stay with it, stay consistent, build where you stand. Was it Booker T say, cast down your buckets, right? So everybody go cast down your damn bucket and go get it done. We are meant to win. We are meant to be excellent and outstanding, and that's what you're being right now. So anyway, God bless you guys. Have a great day. Thank you guys for hanging out with me this morning. It was great to see you on a Saturday morning. Again, if you want to go take a look at the flashcards, workbooks, all that stuff, just feel free to go to drboycebooks.com. And also, if you want to come to the convention, it's all black national convention.